And you can do one on either side if the need be, but by keeping him at a 45-degree recline and putting a receiving blanket down the sides, tucked behind their shoulders, that's gonna also help prevent that head wobble, but also keep his airway open. Two major things that I always see wrong with car seats are the straps are too loose. I've tightened your child's straps so that you cannot pinch an inch. You want them nice and tight against their body. So if you're in a crash, that's going to do their job and keep your baby in that seat. So you want them nice and tight, but you still want to be able to just stick your finger underneath that retainer clip in his body so you know it's not too tight. And the other huge thing that I see that's always wrong is that retainer clip is always down around a baby's belly. You see someone walking around and that's down low. That's very dangerous if you travel that way, because if you stop short or get in a crash, that can damage all their internal organs. You want that retainer clip always at armpit level for as big as your child gets in all of their car seats and boosters. As long as he's in a 5-point restraint, which is what this is, over the shoulders, over the legs, and between the legs. That retainer clip is always at armpit level. Now if you stop short or you get in a crash, that's going to protect him. That sternal bone is going to protect him and keep him in that seat. So you want to make sure that's nice and tight. Once they go forward facing, they're forward facing in their convertible car seat again until the height and weight limit is for that seat, and then they should be in a booster seat until they are about 60 to 80 pounds. It's a gray area, and how do you know when your child can get out of a booster seat? Is when the lap shoulder belt of your vehicle fits them on their clavicle and over their hips. If it comes up on their neck, that's not going to be comfortable, first of all. And it can also be deadly in a crash. It can injure him. So, and then what they're going to want to do is tuck their arm behind their backs, and that's not going to be good either, because that's not safe, because then it's in a lap only, and there's a higher risk of injury and death in a crash. So a lap shoulder belt is when that fits on their clavicle and over their hip bones. That's going to keep him in the car, and that then he's able to get out of the booster seat, and that's usually anywhere around 60 to 80 pounds. Some other basic safety stuff that I want to mention that's so imperative to, making sure your baby's safe, in addition to car seats, because that's truly, crashes are the leading cause of death for our children from birth to 18. So we really need to make sure that they're secured. You as parents, make sure you wear your seatbelts. They will learn by what you do, and of course we want to make sure that you survive a crash. I know it sounds cliche, seatbelts save lives, but they do. So make sure you guys have your seatbelts on all the time. The second leading cause of death in our country are drownings. So drowning prevention is a big thing. Make sure you never leave your child unattended at bath time. Make sure that if you have a pool, that there's some kind of barrier between your house and the pool, a fence, a baby gate. And if you go to someone's house or a party, make sure you do not take your eyes off your child. No one will watch your child around water like you as the parents will watch that child. So make sure you never take your eyes off your child around any kind of water, bathtubs, sinks, any kind of water. Make sure your child is always in a safe sleeping environment. Put them in their bassinet, put them in their crib, put them in their car seat. If you're tired, put them in a safe place when they're sleeping. Make sure your crib sheets are nice and tight. Make sure there's nothing in the crib. I call them the friends. Their noses, their tongues, the little stuffed animals, their little friends, can become a choking or suffocation hazard. You want to make sure that your crib is not near a window where they can get the strings for the blinds, because that can become a suffocation or strangulation hazard. So you really want to make sure your baby is in a safe sleeping environment, and make sure your home safety. Make sure that they can't choke on anything. If something can fit through a standard roll of toilet paper, it's small enough for your child to choke on. So think of all the things in your house that they can choke on, decorative rocks or marbles or anything that can go through a standard roll of toilet paper, they can choke on. So make sure their environment is free and clear of that. Get outlet covers for your outlets. Make sure your hot water tank is not turned up above 120 degrees, because if it's turned up too high, they can actually be burned by the hot water. Which brings me to fires and burns. Make sure your smoke detectors work. Make sure you change the batteries or check your smoke detectors every time we change our clocks, forward or backwards. Every 6 months is a good time to remember, hey, let's check the smoke detector. Make sure your batteries are new and that your smoke detectors are working. Cooking is another very unsafe time to have your child. You have the boiling water. Make sure your child is away from the stove and the kitchen when you're cooking, because it can become, a preventable tragedy. And again, like I said earlier, it's all about prevention when it comes to the safety of your child. So kind of always keeping them in that preventable, safe environment is, the job of as parents. Another big killer of our children are falls. It's a leading reason why kids come to our ER every year, whether they're unattended on a couch, on a bed. Kids love to jump on the bed, and it's fun, but unfortunately there's a lot of head and neck injuries when it comes to falls. So that's another thing. Make sure your child is in a safe environment. Really that's it. And if you have any questions, we at Manatee Memorial offer free car seat inspections twice a month to have your car seats checked, and also to the Healthy Start, we have my class is free, infant CPR and car seat and basic safety. So it's about a 2-hour class that encompasses a lot of great life-saving information. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Samari Laney Birch. She was born October 12, 2007 at Lakewood Ranch Medical Center. When we went home, every night, I never had time to assemble a crib because I was in the process of moving. So I never took time to put the crib up knowing that that was the safer route for her to sleep at night. So every night she slept in the bed with me. I didn't think nothing of it because I thought it was fine. I wasn't a deep sleeper, and I always listened for her to cry. And just one night while we were sleeping, I woke up and she was against the wall in the bed and she was not breathing. It's not worth it. The tragic can happen in less than 30 seconds. If you're not careful, if you think that it's okay to let the baby sleep in the bed with you for an hour, it's not. It's best just to put the baby in the crib. You feed the baby, burp them, put them back in the crib. It's not worth a lifetime of suffering and sorrow knowing that your baby passed from a simple mistake. It's not worth it. The crib is always the best way to go.
We've got the baby home, just a couple of days old, in its own safe sleeping environment, and we think that everything is just perfect. So let's take a look at what we've got here in our bassinet that may be unsafe for our newborn baby coming home. First of all, we've got a blanket. The baby really doesn't need a blanket. All the baby needs is warm enough clothing to keep it comfortable in the temperature that you have set for the room. We have another issue. We have the baby face down. Babies sleep best and safest on their back, so we need to put this baby on its back. But look what else. Most parents think that the baby needs to be really comfortable on a pillow. We have an adult-sized pillow in this bassinet that's extremely dangerous and can become suffocating material for an infant that gets face down into that material. So I'm going to remove this pillow. And again, remember, the baby sleeps safest on its back in clothing that's comfortable for the temperature of the room. So no blanket, no pillow, flat, firm mattress, and the baby dressed warmly enough for the temperature of the room. So now, baby's in its own safe sleep environment, and it's the 2 o'clock feeding time in the morning. So mom is sleeping in bed as we have Candy over here in bed. So the baby cries, wakes her up. She's going to be feeding this baby at 2 o'clock in the morning. Now perhaps she's breastfeeding or bottle feeding, but she thinks I've got the bassinet right here in the bed with me. I'm just going to bring Junior in here to the bed to feed and then burp. And she's very, very tired because remember, babies feed every couple of hours, so she hasn't gotten a whole lot of sleep. And so what might happen, and what we have seen happen a great many times, is that the mom will stay with the baby in the bed. Now, as you can see, this bed offers a number of unsafe situations. It's got a lot of pillows. It's got a very confined sleeping area, and mom might even be worried that if the baby is close to the edge of the bed, that she might then put the baby close to the wall. So Candy, why don't you go ahead and transfer this baby as if you were going to sleep with this baby, and now look at what we've got. We've got, if mom falls asleep, all she has to end up doing is rolling slightly over, and she could actually overlay this baby and create a suffocating environment, or all of these blankets can get entangled. The baby can get tangled up in these blankets. And if we'll also notice that we have an area between the bed and the wall, and we have seen many babies get turned and actually suffocate face down, wedged between the bed and the wall. We've had several of those tragic incidences occur. So this bed might be comfortable for the mom, but it is certainly an unsafe sleeping environment for this baby. When mom is done feeding at the 2 o'clock in the morning feeding time, after she burps the baby, she needs to take this baby, place this baby on its back in its safe sleeping environment, all by itself, and then mom go back to sleep and rest quietly and comfortably until the baby awakens her for the next feeding. And the baby is going to be safe, mom is going to sleep a lot more comfortably. Baby's still in the room. She can hear the baby, she can attend to the baby if she needs to, because the baby's right here in the room with her, but they have their own separate sleep surfaces that they do not share. As we just described the dangerous sleep environments that we can have in the bassinet and the adult bed, we've now moved into the living room, and we're going to talk about another very unsafe sleep environment for your baby on the couch when you may be laying down to take a nap. As you can see, Katie is laying down with her baby, and she may fall soundly asleep on the couch. And then, as most people are wont to do while they're sleeping, they will move and turn as they're sleeping. And we've had several tragic incidences where babies have become wedged between the back of the couch and the parent during a sleep environment similar to this. We've talked about several unsafe sleep environments that have had tragic consequences here in Manatee County where babies have actually suffocated, and these are all preventable. Just take a few minutes to think about the unsafe environment that you could be placing your child to sleep in, whether you're sharing a sleep surface or putting your baby to bed in a crib or a bassinet. If you have any questions or concerns about a healthy sleep environment for your baby, contact your Healthy Start Care Coordinator.
My name is Dr. Dwight Fitch. We here would like you to have a healthy and a happy baby. To that end, I'd like to talk to you today about some of the ill effects of smoking, drinking, and illicit drug use during pregnancy. As we said, as a mother, I'm sure it's very important to you to give your child the best start they can possibly have in life. One of the things that you can do is to not smoke, and if you are smoking, to stop smoking. Some of the effects of smoking on babies during pregnancy, they range from stillbirth, premature birth, low birth rate, just to name a few. If you're thinking that I'm already smoking, so what's the point in stopping? It's very important to know that if you stop, even by the second trimester, all those effects can be reversed and your baby can be just as healthy as one who was never exposed to prenatal or during natal smoking. Low birth weight is associated with many common complications for newborn babies. Some of these are asthma, repeated ear infections, difficulty with sleeping, irritability, and most significantly, SIDS, or sudden infant death syndrome. It's also important to note that secondhand smoke after the baby is born also attributes to these things. And as we all know, and we're all on the same page, both the medical professional and you as parents, we want healthy babies. We want as many babies as possible to be non-smokers and have healthy lungs and to start healthy lives. Some of these same side effects are also found with drinking. Again, you have things such as fetal alcohol syndrome, which can lend to late-term effects in babies, such as mental retardation and low birth rate again. To recap then, whether it's smoking, illegal drug use, or alcohol abuse, all these things are terrible for your unborn child. So remember, we, as well as you, want you to have a happy and healthy baby. There's resources available for your help if you need it, and we urge you to contact your physician or local community organization for that help.
Hello and welcome. My name is Javier Sevilla and I'm a pediatrician at Whole Child Pediatrics here in Bradenton, Florida. This is a very exciting time for you. Your pregnancy is almost over and your baby is coming to the world. This is a great opportunity for you to find out a little bit more about what's going to happen after the baby's born and how we can partner with you as a pediatrician in taking care of the baby. If you haven't done so yet, this is a great time to start thinking about choosing a pediatrician. And there are plenty of very good pediatricians here in the community. So what should you look for in a pediatrician or in a pediatric office that is going to determine your choice? Well, there are different things that may be important to you, and I'm going to name a few characteristics that you may want to look at in the pediatric office that you choose. You want this office to be the medical home for your child, a place where everybody knows your name, a place where you have an intimate relationship with the staff and with the doctor. You want the office to be accessible. You want to be able to call either by phone or by email or any other means to the office and get your answers to your questions promptly. The other thing you want is you want to establish a relationship with the physician or the team that is in the office. You want this relationship to be a relationship of trust and confidence, and you want to feel comfortable asking anything to any of the members of the team. You also want an office that is going to take care of most of the health questions that you have, that is pretty comfortable at dealing with most of general healthcare in pediatrics for a child. And you want an office that can coordinate the care so that if you do see other doctors or if you do see other practitioners, that the office knows what's happening and can coordinate and help you be informed about what is going on with the care of the baby. So one thing that you may want to do is you may want to have an interview with the pediatric office before the baby is born. And that way you can get a feel of the office, a feel of the staff, and you can start that relationship before the baby is even born. There's going to be other options and lots of alternatives when the baby is born, and many choices that you're going to have. Some of those are going to have to do with feeding, and breastfeeding is something that us pediatricians advise parents to do very strongly. It is definitely the best for the baby, and if you choose breastfeeding, we can definitely help you and support you during that process. If you do choose formula feeding, we can also help you with how to manage and take care of any concerns that you have with formula feeding. Now, there's lots of equipment that is on sale for babies, and really the most important thing to have in mind is that you are probably the most important thing for the baby. So you don't really need a lot of equipment. Your baby is going to thrive from your bonding and your affection, and I would keep the amount of things that you buy to the minimum. You obviously need somewhere for the baby to sleep, and we definitely advise people to have the baby on their back to sleep in a crib so that the baby can have safe sleeping and reduce any risk of sudden death at night. But apart from that, you are the most important thing for the baby, and I would encourage you to really think twice before you spend a lot of resources on equipment. Please think that pediatricians are here as part of the team, as part of your team, and as part of this partnership with you to help you and help the baby grow healthy. So we are here for you, we are here for your baby, and we are here as your partners in getting the best thing that you need for your baby. Thank you.
Thank you for allowing us to share this information with you on this program. Remember, we are dedicated to you and your family so you can have a healthy baby and a healthy developed child. If you ever need information, please contact us at Healthy Start.